Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Saturday. Very important episode here, back in the backyard here, hanging out, enjoying the sunshine. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. This is a very important episode here. I'm warning you about wide receivers to absolutely avoid in the early rounds. Guys, I cannot express to you how important this video is because there is a disaster going on right now this season, what the Consheeps are laying out between round 2 to 5. When you're looking at wide receivers, absolute disaster, okay? So I don't want you guys investing high draft capital picks on wide receivers that are going to bust this year. Guys, I cannot express to you how important this video is. You need to listen, you need to watch, and you need to avoid these particular wide receivers with high draft capital, okay? Last year, I warned you, T. Higgins, coming off round 2, late round 2, he busted, finished 51st amongst wide receivers. Jalen Waddle finished 34th last year amongst wide receivers, exactly where they should have finished because they're wide receiver twos. Now you've got this disaster with wide receivers in rounds 2 to 5, including Texans wide receivers and Bears wide receivers and 49ers wide receivers. Absolute disaster, guys. I'm going to explain it all to you guys, give you a practical solution. I'm ready to dive into this with you guys to make sure you guys do not fall for the trap that the mainstream consensus are laying for you this season like they did last year, and they're not being held accountable. Very important video, guys. If you are new to the channel, smash it, tap it, slap it, and let's get to the video warning you guys to avoid these potential pitfalls at wide receiver. Let's get to it. All right, guys, welcome to the show, guys. If you guys want advice, it's actually going to help you guys win your leagues and be light years ahead of your league mates, your sheep league mates. Hit the thumbs up, smash it, tap it, slap it, turn on that bell for NFL breaking news and fantasy football advice that's actually going to help you guys win, and grab the 16-round draft solution. This is the solution. I give you all the optimal players to draft in each round. Last year, told you to avoid Pollard. Last year, told you to draft Laporta, make him your tight end 1. Last year, told you to avoid Eckler. Told you to avoid Dalvin Cook round 5. Told you to avoid J.K. Dobbins round 4. Told you to avoid Mike Williams round 5. Guys, I saved everybody's league last year and put everybody light years ahead of the consensus. Grab 16 rounds, use code SMASH to save. I've linked it below. It is the game changer, and hit the thumbs up, guys. And also make this interactive. Drop a comment below. I want to hear your feedback on what I'm about to say here because it's completely practical and nobody else is talking about it. Like, I don't watch other channels, but I actually specifically went out and I actually watched a couple other channels, and what they're doing is absolutely ridiculous. They're doing mock drafts like normal and drafting these players like nothing's wrong. Like, it's delusional what's going on in the industry. That's why you guys got to hit the thumbs up. We need to get this message out to other people in the world. Not necessarily your league mates. That's where you get the 16-round draft solution, where you're light years ahead of everybody. But we need to get the truth out there. I don't have a 4-letter network backing me. That's why you got to hit the thumbs up and make this interactive. Let's boost this algorithm. This is very important information that nobody's discussing. I want to discuss with you guys, okay? So, the first player you need to avoid is DJ Moore, sitting as wide receiver 17 this year, 26 overall, coming off rounds 2 to 3. We're talking about a guy who had a pretty decent year last year, but has way more competition this year. They brought in the target hog that is Keenan Allen, who I believe is washed, but he's good enough to take a ton of volume. They got a rookie quarterback in there, and they drafted Roma Tuesday. Let me put this in perspective for you guys, okay? Wide receiver 17 right now on the ADP Consheeps rankings, amongst wide receiver rankings. Wide receiver 25 is Allen, and wide receiver 47 is Rome. Okay, so basically, literally, DJ Moore is coming off rounds 2 to 3, and then Keenan Allen's coming off just a little bit after that. So, guys, what's happening right now is ludicrous. You are drafting the wide receiver 2 on the team potentially because nobody knows who the wide receiver 2 is. Simple solution. I didn't explain this in the 16-round draft solution, tell you exactly who to get. Draft somebody you know is going to be high on the depth chart. Nobody's talking about this. They're just saying, go ahead. That's where DJ Moore is going. Just grab him. And you see these sheep analysts, everyone, 99% of them, just doing mock drafts, literally doing them and just drafting these guys casually right after each other. Like buddies drafting with his buddy on YouTube, and one guy gets DJ Moore, one guy gets Keenan Allen. Like, are you guys not that smart? And I don't really want to curse here. I try to keep my my YouTube PG-13, I really try to keep it neutral because there's younger people listening, but it makes me want to curse, it makes me want to scream because this is a direct, blatant lie. We know that either Rome could be the one. There's just not enough targets to go around to make all these guys give you a return on investment, a high return on investment on your draft capital. Coming off rounds 2 to 3, when you're not even sure they're the one on their team, is ludicrous. You guys should not be drafting players that you're uncertain of. Does this make sense, guys? So DJ Moore, Keenan Allen's like 100 years old. Like, the guy got force-fed last year. You're drafting him on a year he got literally force-fed by Justin Herbert. Like, literally force-fed. And you're drafting him based on ADP, based on the copy and paste from last year. That is crazy talk, knowing that the team that he's going on has an established wide receiver one, theoretically, in DJ Moore, and they drafted the top 3 prospect at wide receiver in Romo Duze, and a rookie quarterback, and you're spending a second or third round pick on these guys. Guys, start using your brain and logic when you're drafting. And that's why you guys got to get the 16-round draft solution. I explain all this, guys. Common sense is not that common in the industry. I'm telling you. These are the same guys telling you to draft Eckler coming off a pinnacle year last year. The same ones telling you to draft Pollard, who was not a true proven RB1. I told you to avoid Pollard last year. People thought I was crazy. You're crazy, Joe. How could you avoid Pollard? He's amazing. He's not amazing. He was a backup to Zeke for years. Okay, drafted in the 4th round, 2019. Guys, you got to look at all the data. You got to look at the draft capital. You got to look at the depth chart. You got to look at the talent. You got to look at the entire situation. That's what I do in 16 rounds. Grab it. Use code SMASH to save. Grab it below. Guys, I'm telling you, these are lies out here. Okay, so DJ Moore, Allen, I'm drafting. I'm avoiding all of them completely. Okay, the next guy I want you to avoid, guys, this is very, very important, is Nico Collins. You need to be aware he's 29th overall, rounds 2 to 3 ADP, wide receiver 18. Amongst wide receivers, okay? Wide receiver 23 is Diggs, and wide receiver 31 is Dell. I'm in a 2K buy-in league, and these guys came off, I think it was round 3, 4, and 5, right after each other. Okay, you guys are idiots, because literally, one of you guys might be right. You're playing wide receiver roulette. We don't know who the one is. Now, Nico got paid a huge contract, but they brought in Diggs, who's also a target hog, who was a 1 on his team. Again, you guys are drafting Diggs based on last year. He was the #1 target guy for Josh Allen. And now he's there with Nico Collins and Dell. For all we know, I think Dell's the one on this team. And they've got Joe Mixon, catching the ball in the backfield. They got their tight end. They got, maybe, I love CJ Stroud this year, right? I say grab Stroud and avoid these wide receivers because, now you're not worried about playing wide receiver roulette. You've got the quarterback feeding all these guys. But he's going into his 2nd year. I believe in him. I think he takes a step up. But are we 100% certain that he is a qualified, bona fide, true, amazing quarterback? Not really, but I believe in it. But these wide receivers, though, what a disaster. I mean, rounds 2 to 3 for Nico Collins, who was a wide receiver 1 by default. It's ludicrous, guys. Don't do it. Now, mind you, that being said, Nico Collins could finish as a top 5 receiver, and Diggs and Dell completely fall off the map, and Nico's the one. Very possible. Or Diggs could be the one, and Nico and Dell fall off, and then you're like, okay, cool, I got Diggs. You're wrong, Joe. But you guys are all guessing, right? We don't know. So by drafting 1 and 3, you got 1 in 3 chance of getting a top 10 wide receiver. Now, is there a chance that 2 of them could finish as a top 10? Very possible, but now we're kind of reaching. We're doing the T. Higgins from last year. That's why I gave you guys some context, right? You're basically drafting a wide receiver 2 when you can get wide receiver 1s like Ladd McConkey potentially, or a Keon Coleman later, and you're getting a top 10 guy who, there's a major void in targets there with the Buffalo Bills and less competition, okay? So you guys got to start thinking here, okay? When you are in rounds 2 to 4, you need to be aiming high in depth chart and getting guys that are guaranteed volume, which again, I explained in the 16 rounds. So Nico's a hard pass. Don't do it. Diggs, Dell. I mean, if you really want a Texans wide receiver, if you're from Houston and you go to every game and you're just really into them, grab Dell later. I mean, you might as well get a 2 to 3 round discount on a potential wide receiver 1. And he's got that rapport with Stroud. They really like each other. So, yeah, man, it's a crapshoot, okay? Next guy to avoid here, very, very important, Debo and Ayuk. All right, this is very, very crazy here because CMC is very high draft capital. I think he takes a major decline. I'm avoiding him, but we're talking wide receivers. You got Ayuk, who's wide receiver 13. You got Debo, who's wide receiver 19. Both these guys came off in round 3, mid-round 3, back-to-back in a 2K buy-in league, and nobody knows who the wide receiver 1 is. I would say Ayuk is, but he might be traded. There's a lot of buzz about him being traded. If that's the case, I mean, he's 19th overall. Like, round 2, round 3, the latest for Ayuk, who could end up on maybe the Steelers or with the Pickens, or I don't think it might be the Steelers, but who knows? Where he's going to end up. Maybe he ends up on the Broncos. Nobody knows. But you're drafting a guy in round 2, and you don't know where he's going to end up. You know, is Debo going to be the guy? Debo has these up and down years, and his touchdowns really inflated due to rushing, which now CMC has covered, right? If he stays healthy. So it's a disaster with both these guys. I think they're both overrated. I think they're both overpriced. We sold on Brock Purdy being that good, and they got George Kittle. They got Ricky Pearsall, who drafted in the first round. So even Ricky Pearsall gets a boost as a sleeper, but even if Ayuk gets shipped off, Parcells is like the fourth receiving target there. And again, I'm not sold on Brock Purdy being outstanding, Super Bowl hangover. Dude, I mean, both these guys are expensive, and the fact that they're both coming off back-to-back is ludicrous. One of them is 100% going to bust. Are you willing to risk it? I'm telling you not to, okay? So I got one more here for you I'm going to talk about. So if this is making sense, you guys, hit the thumbs up, smash, tap, and slap, and grab 16 rounds, and comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Is this making sense? Nobody else is talking about this. They're just doing mock drafts and just telling you to draft these guys. Last guy here, and again, drop a comment below. I want to make it interactive. It's Puka Nacua, 11th overall, first-round pick. I'm just looking at some stats here. When Kupp had his amazing year, he had 160 targets. What do you have? 191 targets, okay? Now, he finished as the top wide receiver for Stafford, who's aging now as well. So are we trusting an old Stafford? Puka had an amazing year because Kupp only played 12 games last year. He had like issues with hamstring and all that. A healthy Kupp, and I'm not a Kupp advocate. I don't believe in Kupp. I was the only guy telling you to avoid him after the Super Bowl hangover, after his 191 target, 1,947 yards, 16 touchdown season. I'm like, dude, Kupp is overrated. Don't draft him. And I told you he would get hurt or bust, and he got hurt and busted, and I was the only one that was right. And everyone that drafted Kupp was, whoa, Joe, you're right, but like, how'd you know that? You can't predict injury. You could predict declines after pinnacle years, and that's exactly what happened. So now everybody's on this Puka train, which I get. I love Puka, but I liked him last year when he was like unnoticed and undrafted. Now everyone's riding the train, and you got a healthy Cooper Kupp coming back. You got Kyron Williams catching the ball in the backfield. You got Blake Corum there. You got all these targets and an aging Stafford. Am I willing to draft? I got a bug on me here. To draft Cooper Kupp, you know, round 3 or 2, late round 2 after Puka? Like, both these guys are coming off, again, very similar, and you're playing that wide receiver roulette, guessing on who the one is. Now, in theory, you would think that Puka is based on last year, but that's copy and paste nonsense. What happened to the golden boy that was Cooper Kupp that everybody was riding 1 or 2 years ago? Now they're on Puka because he had the better year? What makes you think that Cooper Kupp can't come back and become the wide receiver 1 there, completely diluting Puka's volume? Either way, because of these question marks, because of the uncertainty, because of the aging Stafford, because of the fact that Cooper Kupp was banged up last year, I'm going to completely avoid this situation as well and grab a bona fide true wide receiver 1 where the gap between the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2 is massive. Example, I know he's a rookie, but Marvin Harrison. Example, Garrett Wilson. Like, who's the 2 with the Jets? You know, like, nobody that matters. Do you know what I'm saying? Is it Malachi, the new guy Malachi? Is it going to be Lazard or whoever's there? It's going to be Garrett Wilson and everybody else, okay? Similarly to Chase. You got Higgins there. He's franchise tagged, but Chase is still the one by a significant margin. I mean, Higgins tends to eat once in a while. The gap isn't as big, let's say, between Marvin Harrison and whoever the backup is there, Wilson, whoever it is. Guys, you got to take a look at these gaps and draft wide receivers that have a major gap. Now, example, Justin Jefferson, another guy I'm avoiding because Sam Darnold's throwing the ball. Like, that's all I got to say. Give me Keon Coleman round 8 to 9, right, over a Justin Jefferson, right? I got Keenan Allen throwing to him. Or sorry, it's Keenan Allen. Oh, my God. Josh Allen throwing to him and 240 targets vacated with Gabe Davis and Diggs gone. Give me Keenan Allen round 9. Give me a workhorse round 1. Guys, maximize your draft capital, your rounds, your positions, okay? Don't waste your time playing wide receiver roulette in these rounds. And I'll leave you with that, all right? If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, smash, tap, and slap it. Welcome to the Common Sense channel, guys, where I actually give advice that actually helps you guys win. What's going on out there in the fantasy football is absolutely ludicrous. You need to stay far away from it. Grab 16 rounds, use code SMASH to save, and you'll never look back. All right, guys? Line mentality. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Have yourself an outstanding weekend. I'm enjoying the sun. It's really starting to make me sweat here. It's hot. It's hot out here. We'll talk soon. I'm out.